Hey everyone, I'm the last one. I hope you survive. I also like struggling to keep the day going. Nice to meet everyone. It's like really gonna be a short 10 minutes and I'm gonna make it 10 minutes, so not to keep you waiting. Also, forgive me because for the first time I'm actually gonna look at my notes. I was a bit hangover today and everything that I was researching just couldn't stick in my head, so I think I need some help with notes. So yeah, I'm a VC at Xange. If Xange doesn't ring a bell, maybe our investment would. We are pre-seed investor at Ledger. We are investor at CoinHouse, investors at Dogami in the NFT space, investors at Request Finance in the invoicing space. So pretty good names in the crypto, but I mean our name behind is a bit always in between. So been big crypto believer since 2000, basically 13, when we invested in Ledger at that time. And to come to the climate topic, really, it's something that we've just been seeing in the last 2 years. So it's really the new kind of use case in the blockchain space. It's not something that's been around a long time. And I'm gonna try to be really concise and tell you what I'm gonna talk about in the next 10 minutes. So I want to talk to you about the 3 applications that we are looking into at the moment in the climate space or climate crypto space. The main 2 challenges that I see and we see for investment in the climate tech, Web3 climate tech space. And finally, our last investment in the space, which is just happened 2 weeks ago, but not yet unveiled. It's called Carbonable, and they are exactly in the climate sustainability space. So now I look at my notes. So I think it's like the one main thing is if you took a look at the climate market and the Web3 is really, really small. So compared to art, to NFT, it's still in the beginning, so it's small. In terms of investment, it's really kind of a conviction investment. I believe this market's gonna grow, and I believe that it's the right time to invest in it, because today, honestly, it's still a very small portion of the Web3 space, and it's a big bet to invest now in it. I'm also going to give you some honest feedback, and sorry if I hurt anyone to that one. So yeah, the 3 main use cases that we actually look at the moment in the space. So first one is everything that really incentivizes people to behave better. In that sense, you can imagine a company from the UK called Circular that's trying to have their own token to incentivize people to return fund. Fund for people that don't speak German. I don't know how it is in English, but sorry? Plastic? Deposits, yes, exactly, to return deposits, and they partner with the main major deposit players to, whenever you bring back your deposits, you get a token. So that's one use case, and in the same space there is another company, also actually London-based, called Sweetcoin. If you heard about it, they just closed a 30 million round recently. And what they do, they incentivize people to take public transport. So basically they tell you, hey, it's a fitness app. If you take public transport, you get a token. So it's really incentivizing people to behave better. So that's the first application. Second application is really facilitating access to green projects. And by that, I mean, if you compare like to Web2, crowdfunding space. I think 5 years ago, I don't know, I put like 200 euros in a green project in Colombia because someone told me, hey, this lady is doing a good job in the community, etc. And it looks really cool. I absolutely do not know what's happened since then, since I put like my money, and you just believe the player that they actually gave the money, that the project happened, and I also don't know what the results are. And I think the big change with Web3 is basically that now you can see the projects, but you can also have transparency about them. And the 2 main advantages of that, so first one is actually compared to Web3, you create a liquid market. So you can also then resell your parts on the projects afterward, which is not possible with just crowdfunding. In Web3, you can, if you have like a portion of the project, then afterward you can resell it to someone else and create more value out of it, which is one big, I think, plus for Web3 compared to Web2. And second one is the traceability. So now you can actually invest in projects and you know they exist, or at least you can trace that they exist, because I'm pretty sure like I won't say pretty sure, but a lot of times I also don't know if the project exists themselves. You give money and you have no clue and you believe the person would actually do what they claim to do. And really hope that with Web3 we're going to get more traceability on actually projects themselves. So I would say these are the three main use cases. So first incentivizing, second facilitating access to projects, and third one having more transparency on projects themselves. That's for my first part of my 10 minutes. Then second one, if you think like from a VC perspective about challenges, so what are the challenges for the space? And honestly, like for me, the first one is education, because it's still like, as I said, a small space. So you want to educate more people, and regarding it attracts, I think the panel before said attract more talents, because you are lacking so many talents in the space. So before it becomes actually an strong, profitable, and VC game thing, it has to be a large market, and that means more money, even if the word money was not someone forbidden it before, and more talents. So that's the first one. I mean, if you compare it to art and NFT, it's really still a small market, and the challenge is really educating people to go in that space, to how to work well with it, how to do well with it. And second challenge, and that's what I have to look at my notes. Of course, it's the business model. I mean, it's mainly like the main issue with today in what's stopping VCs to investing in the space is having sustainable business models and having tokens that actually have value, because you want your token to have value, so you have to invest in sustainable business models, and that's something that's really still not cracked today. Or a lot of startups, a lot of players are trying different business models, but so far there's not like one way to do one big win or one big success in the space that says, okay, this is the way now to go, and this is how you want to look at business models in the space. So I think that would be the second main challenge for investment in the space on our side. For both of these challenges, it's mostly about market. So market understanding the business model, and then markets in terms of size. So this is for the challenges. Do you actually have any questions so far, or should I just keep like going? Okay, then I just keep going. So last point that I wanted to tell you about is Carbonable. So it's our latest investment in the space. So I'll quickly tell you like what it's about, what do they do, and also why you invested in them. So what do they do is an end-to-end, of course Web3 powered end-to-end platform for carbon offsetting. How do they do it? You basically buy a token from Carbonable, then they help you like, they buy generative projects worldwide, globally, and then yearly you can either decide to get the money back from the carbon credit that they're selling, so get the yield back from the carbon credit they're selling, or you can just decide to do your own carbon offsetting for your own emissions. So they give you like these two choices, what do you want to do on a yearly basis. And why we decided to invest in them, and it's the first investment in the space for us as well. Honestly, I think it was mostly for the team, because that was the first time after talking to many players that you had both a very strong climate expert who have real expertise in the project, who works in many climate projects, and at the same time someone strong in the blockchain side, so a very tech person who was in the space for a long time. And it's a rare combination, actually. If you look at founders in the space, you either have two like people with strong blockchain expertise, or you have the other side, like someone with really big climate expertise, but not a good mix of both, which I think it's what's important to make the business scalable on both, to make the business scalable. And second, it's the reason why we invested is also really a conviction that they don't have revenue. We hope that's going to work. I think we will think it's going to work, but it's really a conviction on the market that we know it's going to grow. At which speed? I think it's going to grow at a relatively strong speed. And so it's like, okay, we think the market is going that way. We really believe in this combo of two people. And we said, okay, let's then take the bet. But it's one of the, let's say, riskier bets that we took in the last investment. And yeah, that's it from me. That was actually 10 minutes. You're welcome.
Do we have any questions? Yes.
Ooh, I'm getting questions from the experts.
Have you ever considered a different incentive for the VC firm other than money, as in impact-driven metrics?
Yes, we just like became B Corp, and we also have another investment in the climate space called Greenly. If you know Planetly, they're like one of the competitors in Europe. We just got our own report on Exchange carbon emissions, which was really super bad, and that's something that we can also push our LPs to get. To see, understand, and then they would then say, okay, I also want to incentivize you now to also look at other things. So it's basically pushing back bottom up to LPs saying, hey, look at my carbon emission. I'm like basically 5 times more than a large enterprise because the carbon emission is calculated from your own portfolio startups. So it's not only my own carbon emissions while taking the plane or other reasons, it's also like calculating our ledger carbon emission, Mr. Spec's carbon emissions, and that's a lot. And then when you see for a VC, we like have 4 times more carbon emissions as a large enterprise, which is absolutely ridiculously bad. It's a way then to show them, hey, look, this is who you're giving your money to. So maybe if you also incentivize, you like take this KPI in your head, we can also then make better decisions while investing the money because it's basically your money at the end.
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I'm not sitting in the best place to make a comment, but I just wanted to share something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So my name's Caitlin. I work in the general regenerative finance space as a freelancer. And to your point earlier about one of the top challenges being education, I think there's different parts of this education challenge. So the first part is the user experience challenges that go with education in terms of creating wallets, how to purchase tokens, et cetera, what the rules of the games are. But the second part of that education problem that I feel like is missing in several projects at this intersection of climate and crypto is historical applications and looking at historically what has happened as a result of commodifying nature. For example, when you want to apply blockchain to a sustainability project. Like earlier, the NFTs that were presented, the non-fungible animals, they were only allocated to the number of endangered species that were still around, like the number of those animals that still exist today. So imagine that if one of these species goes extinct, the price of that NFT is going to rise dramatically, and then it becomes profitable for species to go extinct. So I just wanted to raise that point and not necessarily a critique, but something to watch out for in the space.
Okay. No, thank you. And I think this actually falls in the business model challenge for me, because it's like making your token valuable, and if you say like you have contradictory incentive, then of course like you don't want to protect the nature anymore. You actually want to make money of species dying. So that's what the sustainable business model that I was actually mentioning. But thank you for the given concrete example.
Thank you. You've been in the space quite some time already, if I listen to it. You said...
Not personally, but the team. Yeah,
the team, okay.
Our partners, like they were investors in Ledger since 2013, so pretty long time now.
That's great, because then they have seen a lot. What are, let's say, blockchain startups that you maybe would have invested in a couple of years ago, but that you would never invest in now?
FTX? I know you like this kind of answers. You said like, oh, you want to hear honest answers. There you go, FTX. So every trading company. Okay, thank you very much.